Hi, welcome back to the studio. If you like going out to see live music, you've probably heard of this Niagara Music Award-winning band. Today we have in the studio our good friend Dan Diggins, who will talk with Joseph from the band Vinyl Flux. They're going to talk about how to put a set list together, what makes a successful band, and much more. And that's coming up next on Roy's Studio Adventures.
We're here with Joe Minicucci, my old friend from high school. Joe,
my first guitar teacher, Dan Diggins. I'm still learning. I still haven't learned that D chord yet, though.
No, he always played that. It looks like a D minor to me.
I just do that.
It always looked like that.
I do it to freak everybody else out in the band. What are you playing? Make them all sweat, right?
We learned to play guitar together, Joe and I.
Yeah.
Years ago, back when we were about 15 years old, I used to come over to your place. You'd come over to my place, and we'd learned stuff together in the basement. Then one of the first bands that you and I were ever in was a band called Westfall.
That's right.
When we were kids.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
There's a lot of history, and there's a lot of years where we didn't really see each other. Grateful to be reconnected with you,
Absolutely.
Joe. This is fantastic.
I agree with you too, Dan. It's a lot of fun.
Really fantastic.
It's like no years have lapsed at all, eh?
Right.
It's just like it was just like yesterday, right?
Yeah. So you're in a band now called Vinyl Flux from the Niagara area.
Yes.
And that was a band that you started.
We were in a band prior to that, a few bands. One with a very well-known musician in this era, Ken Farraghelli. Unfortunately, he passed it way too early with some health issues. So we were in bands since we were kids as well. Like probably right after you, Dan, was the first other guy that I hung around with and played with the most was Ken Farraghelli. So we've had a lot of different bands in the Niagara region. And we were we started a band called City, and he had City going for a long time. That was a local band in the area, a very well-known band. We did a record. We did a 45 back in the day, vinyl. Got airplay on the radio stations, the whole bit. And then that's when college started. I thought, well, I think I'm going to pursue that for a while, just to make sure I got something to fall back on. Ken continued the music with City. I said, keep the name, keep going. And he kept doing it. He did it as a solo act. He did it as a full band. He did all that kind of stuff. And then we said, hey, let's do something together again. That was now, our careers were sort of underway. We had some more time to get back into music again. So back in the 80s, we started up Undone, which was a Guess Who, Burton Cummings tribute band. And Ken's voice was exactly like Burton Cummings, like scary, scary good. So Leo Moretti from Fellow Music was our piano player. I was the guitar player and keys. Max, the drummer in Vinyl Flux, was our drummer, and Phil Saglambetti, our bass player from Vinyl Flux, was also in that band. Phil also grew up on my same street. Godfather to his kids, so we're like family. So it's been like we're talking childhood relationships here to our age now at 66. So that tells you how long we've been playing together, right? So then Ken unfortunately passed away, and I remember it very clearly. We were at the wake and talking about what a shame missing. We're going to miss a talent like that. Nobody felt like doing anything after that. We were all sort of a little bit messed up to lose somebody close to our age that we thought was very young at the time. And we just said, hey, maybe we should talk about doing something, and we just left it at that. Nothing serious. And, I kept thinking about it. I took out the guitar, started learning all the parts again, back to the classic rock stuff that we grew up with, you and I, going to Samba Record Man's, remember that? Yeah. And then going to Joel's Coffee Shop or Diana Sweets.
Yes.
Looking at the album and reading the word. You remember what it was all about, right?
Yeah.
That was our Saturday adventure, like a studio adventure. We had our Dan and Joe's adventure going down to Samba Record Man and getting the record of the week, right? Yeah. And so I started learning back all those parts again, and I thought, I called up, the first people was Max and Phil. I said, Phil, we talked about it. Ken's no longer here. What do you think about doing something simplified, just a classic rock band? Just the stuff that we had the passion to buy guitars for. When you remember, we went to Osnex Music, and we look at those Les Pauls up on the wall, and we were just like in a daze, right? We're just dreaming of guitars like that, and all of our heroes like Led Zeppelin and Bad Company and Deep Purple,
Alex Lifeson and all.
Alex, that came a little bit later, but the beginning, the first ones, talking the true Deep Purples and the real true classic rock. I said, let's get back to the roots of where we had a passion. We got bit by the music bug. So we started talking. Goes, yeah, okay, great. I don't know. I haven't played in a while. This, and then now we need a singer. We don't have a singer, And I see Rob Cave, our singer, Rob Cave. One day I was working with a writer of mine. I owned an advertising agency for 40 years, as you know. That was my career, my so-called day job. So I was sitting down with my writer for a coffee. We were talking about a project that we were working on. And in the hotel, I see coming in Rob carrying a monitor and a microphone stand. And I just yelled, "Hey, Cave, what's going on?" Because you remember when we were kids, he would drive our equipment around because he had the license. We didn't have a license. So he would drive. So I said, "What's going on? You still carrying it?" I was just busting his chops. And he's still carrying equipment for a band. He goes, "No, I'm in a band." I said, "What do you mean you're in a doing what?" "I'm a singer." I said, "Well, you never ever expressed that to me through high school. You just hung around with the band guys, with us, you know, and our band and stuff." And he said, "No, I started singing," and so that went in the back of my head. So I called the guys up. So let's just musically get the stuff down. Let's worry about a singer later. But I got somebody in mind. But I don't know. But let's just, you know, we're messing around, and then we brought him in, and Rob did really, really well. He was a little bit green, but 15 years later, we're a busy band.
It's been 15 years, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, we're pretty busy. We're booked a year in advance. Some bigger festivals in the Niagara area, like Grape and Wine, the Red Fest. We do all the headline spots there, which is great.
Yeah.
A lot of other great bands in the area too, as you know, Dan. I mean, you're a big supporter of local talent as well. So yeah, we're really busy and we're still going. We're still learning stuff all the time, learning old stuff. Like my mom, funny story for you. So my mom, being Italian, obviously, right, old school. She came out to an outdoor concert once because she can't come into a bar. She feels uncomfortable going to a bar, right? It's a little bit like a little loud, a little late. Like after Wheel of Fortune, it's like that's it, it's over, right? So she came to an outdoor gig, and she's playing. The guys in the band, they cracked right up. I said, "What would you think, Mom, Dad? What'd you think?" She goes, "It's okay, but can't you learn anything new?" She remembered he playing those songs over and over and over. But she, like, it was out of sympathy. It was like, it was okay, but can't you learn anything new? Like are you stuck?
That's funny.
Like, it is funny, right?
Oh, yeah.
God bless her. You know what I mean?
So how did you come up with the name Vinyl Flux? Was that your idea?
Well, it was a combination. Actually, it was between all of us. We thought vinyl was the key. We didn't want to say classic rock band. We wanted to say vinyl because that's the stuff that we grew up with. I said, but the word flux came from a different some things I can't mention on camera, which is kind of bad joke because dirty joke, right? But anyway, but the other side of the flux part was. I said, guys, you just never know. We might want to flux, be in flux. We might want to do a little bit outside of the classic rock era, like the newer stuff. Like, even though U2's been around a long time, it's sort of out of the realm of what we were doing. Now, we were doing some pretty bizarre B-side songs in the beginning. And as you know, as I tell the guys in the band, it's called show business for a reason. Show business. If the till is not ringing, and people aren't dancing, and they're not eating, and they're not drinking. As much as you like to do "She's So Heavy" by the Beatles, it's a great tune. Yeah. It's one of those obscure, like, whoa, I never heard a band play that before. Yeah. It's a B-side where it just you can feel the audience vibe just flatten out. It's like, we just got to pick up the pace a little bit. Let's keep doing the stuff that we love doing, but let's make sure that there's a.
So for you, it's important to give the people product that they want to hear. You're doing it for the people, but also to please yourself.
Absolutely,
as a player.
That's where the flux comes in. We have to be a little bit sort of out of the, not just stuck into the realm of just pure classic rock. We have to go into pop music too, right? Because people want to hear that, right? I wouldn't say top 40. We don't do any Taylor Swift. I love her. She's fantastic. What a gal. But we don't do Taylor. But I know some bands do. And that's great because people are really wanting that kind of stuff. Ours is more the danceable classic rock stuff, if I have to put it that way, right? So that's sort of, it's a business. If the bar owners are having a busy night and they're turning people away and people are coming for supper, I find it with our age, Dan, as you probably know, our age comes out to see us.
Yep.
They're there for dinner. They cash out that bill. Then they start the bar bill. So they're there all night. They're not just there nursing a beer for the night. They're there for dinner, the bottle of wine during dinner, and then the drinks afterwards. So, I know that some bands say, well, why are these guys always busy? Well, you guys got to think more business-wise. Sometimes think about think of the owner's situation. As much as you love to play, they're really not there for you. They're there to have a good time. You know what I mean? That's the one thing I've learned in 55 years of playing.
Yep.
What I've learned is that the audience, they're there to be. We're there to entertain them, right?
Yeah.
And if the bar owners are happy, they're gonna book you a year ahead of time.
So part of your whole mentality about it is you're bringing a product, but you want to help the bar owner, help the club owner, whatever the venue is.
Priority one.
You want to bring something of value to that.
Priority one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it seems to be working very well for you because you guys have won is it the People's Choice Awards?
We've won though. Although we don't really go for that. It was the Niagara Music Awards is what
Niagara Music.
The Niagara Music Awards were a little bit more closer to our heart because of all of the people that were songwriters too. I mean, so we were in the audience in the company of some really up and coming great artists in this area, far beyond my talent level. Mm-hmm. But it was fantastic to be within that company. So when we won that, we were very proud of those awards.
Yep.
As opposed to Reader's Choice Awards. I don't know. Do you read the newspaper? I don't really read the newspaper.
Not really, but I've seen it. I
mean, I don't care about the Reader's Choice, but I care about what the Niagara musicians and fellow musicians vote on.
Okay.
That to me is kind of important because it's your peers voting on you, right? But like I said, we were just in awe of being in the company of some of these up and coming artists. Many of them you played with and been on stage with, like Evan Rotella, like Tim Hicks. All these guys started in our area. You know what I mean? They started, and now my sax. We're talking about vinyl Flux. My other band is Hungry Hearts Band, which is the Springsteen cover band. So Dave Kalanico, my sax player, his son is Andrew Kalanico, which you played many times on stage with. Is Andy Kalanico. With Revive the Rose.
Oh, okay.
Andy.
Yeah.
So he's doing a country thing. He's getting a lot of airplay with the country.
Very talented young man.
Super talented.
Yeah.
That's his dad is my sax player.
Ah, okay.
And his mom is Barb Mantini from the Mantini sisters in this area.
Ah.
So it's a very tight family situation. So Dave is my sax player in Hungry Hearts Band, and his nephew Michael is our bass player. Ah. And his mom is a Mantini, so it's kind of a small world, really.
Really, yeah. Nice tight knit community.
Very tight knit. But we all are. All the bands are. If we see them coming out to see us when they're not playing, and we try to do that when we're not playing.
Right. Yeah.
A little bit hard for us because we're booked almost every weekend for the whole year, so it's kind of tough.
It's really. I've been out to see some of your shows, and I mean, your band is good. It's when you guys. Perform when you're performing and you go to do a song, it's always done well.
Thank you.
It's always done well. You're a great guitar player.
Well,
we grew up playing together, Joe.
We got bit by the same bug at the same time. So it was amazing.
Yeah.
An amazing time to be in that with you.
Do you have any specific gigs that you've done that really kind of stand out as wow, that was a really special thing?
We do one every year for friends of ours that own a winery in the area. It's called Graze the Bench. It's at Fielding Estate Winery. And the reason why it's so special is that we love the owners. We know them.
Yeah.
And they bring people from outside the area. So it's a lot of the non-Niagara people that come. So there's Toronto people that want a reason to come to Niagara. So they come to this Graze the Bench where they graze like cattle, right? Or whatever, sheep. They go from winery to winery, and each winery has a different taste. Like one might be jazz, one might be country. We're the classics. So they try not to duplicate a style of music in each of the winery. So we were at this winery, and we did at the end of the day, we just said, hey, just for shits and giggles, let's do a Tragically Hip set because people are into that. Whether you like the Tragically Hip or not, regardless, right? It doesn't really matter. But the audience likes it. Okay, let's put it that way. So I said, well, let's put together a whole set and just finish off the night that way.
Yeah. And
we did it, and people were going crazy. And it was like to the point, Dan, where you're playing, you cannot hear the guitar or the drum. The screaming was that to me. If I have to say, like the most closest to rock stardom as we can get as Weekend Warriors, that was it for me. Yeah. I think everybody in the band would say the same thing. Yeah. That was the closest you're going to get as to, wow, these people really like what we do. Like they really love what we do and what we deliver. That was when it was evident to us that we're doing something right, and we put a lot of time, a lot of practiced. I still practice a lot of hours every day. Like, you know what I mean? Like I just finished before coming here. I was on the piano doing some stuff, and you know, I'm still every day putting in. I got a gig coming up this weekend with the 100 Hearts Band, going over all the Springsteen stuff. As much as I know it off by heart,
you still go over it. Yeah.
Always. The
So
guitar's
you're
always in my
prepared.
head.
Yeah.
Like I said, Dan, if I ever see a newspaper, Joseph Minicucci murdered, bludgeoned by guitar, it's my wife. You know, she's been with me for 15 years, right? I'm with her. Goes, can you not put that thing down? You know. But you know what it's like. Is our DNA is built into these things, right?
Sure.
Especially some of our old guitars.
Yeah.
Hey, like the SG, right?
Yeah. There's some history there. I've got that '67 Gibson SG that I've got, and Joe, you're the guy that showed me that guitar.
Correct.
He said to me, "You got to come to Austin X and see this guitar, Dan. This Gibson SG." I was like, "Okay." Well, I went, and I think you were maybe gonna buy it.
Oh, I know I was going to buy it.
I apologize for that.
No, don't
because
apologize.
I bought it.
No, that's good.
And I still have it today. And
That's right.
It's been my constant companion since I was 17 years old.
And people that are not into music don't understand, Dan, how important a guitar of that age and having it in your hands that long since we were kids.
Yeah.
Of what that means to us. It's like when your friends weren't around, or no matter what, whether you went through good times or bad times in life.
Yeah.
That was a constant denominator. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Constant denominator.
Yes.
It brought out even sometimes the negative thoughts through music.
Oh yes.
Or positive thoughts.
It
in music,
definitely.
right?
I mean, I've written. Do you write, Joe? Do you write
Not really,
songs
man.
or music much?
No.
Yeah, never been your thing.
That's not my thing. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, and I what you're just talking about there. I've written a lot of music, a lot of
Yes.
songs with lyrical content, a lot of instrumental pieces. But I mean, due to my history with relationships, I've been through some failed marriages and that. And I tell you what, good. I'm at a good place now, but they always things like that always bring out a lot of good songs.
Well,
They bring out able to express those things.
But
through
you've
the
seen that or heard it from other, let's call them rock stars, people that have made it music.
Yeah.
They all have come back from a real dark place.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think that's a necessary ingredient. We hope for the next generation of musicians watching this video.
No, probably not. No.
I hope it's not, but it is a common denominator. If you think
Sure.
about it, there's always some really bad shit going on in someone's life, and from that comes out great music.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you need a little bit of pain for gain. I don't know, Dan. But,
So when you're playing guitar, do you get to a point where you kind of lose track of time and you just disappear into the playing of?
Well, here's the thing. You know, people come see me all the time. Goes, man, I can't believe you're still playing guitar. You played in high school at the gymnasium in our auditorium, whatever. You know what I mean? They remember we were just hacking around when we were kids, right?
Yeah.
I said, I can't. I said, do you guys ever remember that TV show, The Time Tunnel? Remember the Time Tunnel? Right?
Not specifically, but
Remember? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the Time Tunnel. Was that Rod Sterling? The same? Was he?
No.
That was the other, whatever. It was called The Time Tunnel,
Yeah.
right? So they go back in time. It was a 1950s, 60s show that I used to watch as a kid. I tell people the same story all the time. It's honest to God truth. I put that guitar strap around my neck. 71. I'm with you. Hitchhiking down to Austin.
yeah.
And hitching a ride because I'm saving the money.
Yeah.
I had the money to take the bus,
Yeah.
but I kept the money because I knew I wanted to buy the album.
Yeah.
So I hitchhiked to meet you down at Jules Coffee Shop
Yeah.
or Diana Sweets, and we went all bought our records. But I kept the money in my pocket. But I put that thing. I'm right back in that era. I'm just total. You know, I don't feel my age when I'm playing. I don't feel the aches and pain. I feel them after though.
Yeah.
After you clear all the gear out.
And you know, I experience that a lot when I'm out playing. I feel like I'm 17 years old again.
You're transported, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is real, and I'm really glad to hear that, Joe.
That's the
because
truth. It's the truth. I think
great
that's
thing to have, isn't it?
It's a great thing to have. It's a drug in itself. It really is. Music is a
It's
healer.
good for the soul.
It's a healer of all kinds.
Yeah.
I can't put I can't explain it unless you've experienced it. You've experienced, so I don't have to explain it to you, right?
Right.
But for somebody who's not into music or never played music, kind of hard to explain why you play music. It just transports you someplace.
Yeah.
And it transports other people. Like nothing gives me a kick or the guys in the band a kick.
Yeah.
Then we're doing a classic rock song, let's say Cat's Caboose, one of our favorite places to play.
Yeah.
They've been our supporters since day one. Scott Hill and the staff are fantastic people. And they've probably been the longest running bar in this area with live entertainment nonstop. Even with a little hiccup of COVID, boom, he was right back in business. So you have to give credit to people like that have been supporters of live music for a long time. Rob says almost at the end of every show, thanks for supporting live music. We always say it at the end of each gig, because without people there, it's just like we don't play. And it's not about the money, you know that, right? We're the stupid people. We'll just take whatever gig money we got and go buy another guitar, right? So yes. it's not about an income at our stage in life, because we're not trying to make it as our career. Some people are, but for us, it's just a gig to go out and have a good time. But it's hard to. It's great when you're playing a classic rock and you see kids. When I say kids, 20s, that know the words. That to me makes my night. Yeah. Because people my age, I kind of expect them to know the words. But when I see a 20-something, I'm thinking, you had great parents. You know what I mean? I'm thinking they probably had vinyl in the house, and you listen, because these kids were in, and they're into it. When they're into that, that even makes you feel younger. It makes you feel like you're right on par with them. Yeah. It just breaks all generational gaps down. Age is not even an issue at that point. Music is the cure for all, man. Really, you know what I mean?
So what I'm getting out of what you're saying is the whole venture of you loving that and being involved in doing it. It's not an ego experience where you want to get out there and go, look, I'm the guitar player. You're doing it to connect with people and to just bring that whole experience.
That's what it's all about for me. I think for everybody in the band. I don't think
that's wonderful, because that's your passion, right?
It's my passion. It is. It's like people say, "Oh, is it your hobby?" I always say, "No, it's not my hobby. It's my passion."
It's your passion.
It's not my hobby.
And you've always been very passionate about it. I know that.
I know that. It's hard to explain to somebody who doesn't understand.
Yeah.
But you get it.
Oh, I get it.
Roy gets it. He knows it.
Yeah. Well, hey. So, do you guys have any gigs coming up around the Niagara area in the near future?
Hungry Hearts Band, the Springsteen Band, playing this Saturday night at Chip and Charlie's.
Right.
Next Friday at Newark Brewing Company in Grimsby, Vinyl Flux. Next Saturday, Cat's Caboose, Vinyl Flux. Next Saturday, New Year's Eve, at Industrial Pizzeria at the Penn Center. We're doing a New Year's Eve bash, Vinyl Flux.
Beautiful.
And then Robbie's the week after Robbie's will be the 28th of December, Saturday. Then the 31st at Industrial.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we're busy every weekend.
Well, hopefully I'll get a chance to come out and see you.
Be a great way to,
See, always a pleasure to come out and see your band. You got a great band.
I get a little bit nervous when you're out there, though, Dan, because I know I get a little bit of the monkey on my back. I got to make sure. I got to make sure I'm playing good.
You're always playing good,
Thanks,
Joe.
Dan. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, your playing is fantastic. You got a really nice feel on that thing.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
It's always great to see you. Thanks, Roy, for having me.
Thank you for coming in.
If you want to see more interviews, such as talking with Neil Peart's childhood friend, click here. Please remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new videos. Remember, go out and see a live band, and thanks for watching.